Welcome to this class on British literature. Today we are going to see about the, the play Volpone by Ben Jonson. It is a study of satire, greed, and moral corruption. Ben Jonson was born in the year 1572. He was a major Jacobean dramatist. He was renowned for satirical comedies and comedy of humors. And Volpone is one of the finest satirical comedies in English literature, and it is widely regarded as the masterpiece of Ben Jonson. And it is set in Venice, a city traditionally associated with wealth, trade, and luxury. The play explores how the pursuit of material gain can destroy human relationships and ethical values. Through witty dialogues, comic situations, and memorable characters, Jonson exposes the darker aspects of human nature while entertaining his audience. The play was first performed in 1606 and it belongs to the genre of satirical comedy, and the play remains relevant even today because of its themes of greed, deception, hypocrisy, corruption that continue to characterize even modern society. And we find that this Volpone was first performed in 1606 during the reign of King James I. And the period witnessed growing commercial prosperity, social mobility, and an increasing obsession with wealth. Venice provided an ideal setting for Jonson's satire because it was widely viewed by English audiences as a city of commerce, luxury, and intrigue. Through the Venetian setting, Jonson criticizes not only the Italian society but also the moral corruption he observed in contemporary England. Now, let us see the plot summary. Volpone pretends to be dying to attract wealth legacy hunters seeking his inheritance. The play revolves around Volpone, a wealthy Venetian nobleman whose name in Italian means fox. Although he possesses immense wealth, he desires even greater pleasure from deceiving others. Assisted by his clever servant, Mosca, Volpone pretends to be seriously ill and close to death. News of his supposed illness attracts several greedy individuals who hope to inherit his fortune. The principal legacy hunters are Waltor, a lawyer, Corbatio, an elderly miser, and Corvino, a wealthy merchant. Each attempts to gain Volpone's favor by presenting expensive gifts and making increasingly immoral sacrifices. Corbatio is willing to disinherit his own son, Bonario, while Corvino offers his virtuous wife, Celia, to Volpone in the hope of securing the inheritance. As the deception continues, Volpone becomes fascinated by Celia's beauty and attempts to seduce her. However, his plan is interrupted by Bonario, who rescues her. The resulting legal proceedings expose the corruption of the justice system as false testimony and manipulation initially triumph over truth. Eventually, Volpone's excessive pride leads him to reveal the deception, and the authorities punish all the wrongdoers. The play concludes with the restoration of justice and moral order. And Volpone is a classic example of satirical comedy. One of the most remarkable aspects of Volpone is its use of satire. Jonson employs humor, irony, exaggeration, and ridicule to expose the moral failings of individuals and society. The primary target of his satire is greed. The legacy hunters are willing to abandon all ethical principles for financial gain. Their obsession with wealth blinds them to morality, family loyalty, and human dignity. Through these characters, Johnson demonstrates how greed can corrupt every aspect of human behavior. The play also satirizes the legal system. Voltaire, a lawyer whose profession should be associated with justice, uses his skills to deceive the court and manipulate evidence. Similarly, the judges initially fail to recognize the truth because they are influenced by appearances and persuasive rhetoric. Johnson further criticizes social hypocrisy. The characters pretend to be loyal friends and well wishers of Volpone, but their actions reveal purely selfish motives. Their concern for Volpone's health is merely a disguise for their desire to inherit his fortune. Now, moving on to the next slide, we find the animal imagery that has been used as a symbol of human vices by Johnson. His use of animal imagery expresses that he is the most effective dramatist in using these techniques. The major characters are named after animals that symbolize their dominant characteristics. Volpone, whose name means fox, he represents cunning, intelligence, and deceit. Like a fox, he enjoys tricking others and manipulating situations for his own amusement. Mosca, meaning fly, symbolizes a parasitic opportunist who survives by attaching himself to more powerful individuals. Voltaire, meaning vulture, resembles a scavenger waiting for Volpone's death so that he can seize the wealth. Corbatio, meaning raven, is associated with death, miserliness, and selfishness. Corvino, meaning crow, reflects greed, possessiveness, and predatory behavior. And we find that the central theme of Volpone is society's unhealthy obsession with money. Johnson portrays a world in which wealth has become the ultimate measure of success and value. Human relationships are transformed into financial transactions. Friendship in the play is based on self interest rather than affection. And marriage becomes a commodity when Corvino offers his wife to Volpone in exchange for possible inheritance. Family bonds are sacrificed when Corbatio attempts to deprive his son of his rightful inheritance. Even the legal system becomes corrupted by the influence of wealth and personal ambition. And we find that it serves as an excellent demonstration of the theory of the comedy of humors. He was strongly influenced by the ancient medical theory of the four humors, and Volpone also originated, that is, it has its origin from this theory, from the ancient medical belief that human personality was determined by four bodily fluids of humors: blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. An imbalance of these humors was believed to produce specific behavioral traits. And the dramatist adopts this concept by creating characters dominated by a single obsession on ruling passion. Volpone is governed by greed and the desire for pleasure. Mosca is driven by ambition and opportunism. Voltaire is obsessed with material gain. Corbatio represents extreme miserliness, while Corvino embodies possessiveness and greed. Because of these obsessions, the characters become comic figures. Their exaggerated traits generate humor, and simultaneously it exposes human weaknesses. Johnson thus combines entertainment with moral instruction. And we find that the characters, they display the dominant humor which is present in them is Volpone, greed and pleasure; Mosca, ambition; Voltaire, material gain; Corbatio, miserliness; and Corvino, possessiveness and greed. And we find that like many traditional comedies, Volpone also concludes with the restoration of justice. And after the deception is uncovered, the authorities impose appropriate punishments on the guilty characters. Volpone loses his wealth, Mosca is sentenced to slavery and public punishment, Walter is disbarred from legal practice, Corbuccio loses his property, and Corvino is publicly disgraced and punished. And as far as the rewards are concerned, Bonario receives justice and inheritance, and Celia, her virtue is recognized and protected. And Volpone remains one of the greatest satirical comedies in English literature because of its brilliant characterization, sharp wit, and powerful moral vision. Johnson successfully combines humor with social criticism, creating a play that entertains while exposing the dangers of greed and corruption. The use of animal symbolism, the comedy of humors, and the intricate plot all contribute to its enduring appeal. Thank you so much for your listening.